Welcome, viewers. Welcome to The Fix. I'm Dan. As you can see above, Dan and Chris. We have some special guests today. Chris will not be making it, as you guys know. Chris is a Detroit Lions fan, and Chris has decided to take this episode off to emotionally heal his wounds from last week's loss. So I will be handling all our coverage for AFC and NFC weekend. I'd like to bring in some guests, the co-hosts of The Real, Joseph Lampman, Jersey Joe, and Mike Antonace, all joining us here. We're going to jump through. We are going to jump through the games this weekend, one of my favorite weekends of the year, 2 football games, AFC, NFC championship, just 2 games to focus on to decide which teams go to the Super Bowl. And we're not only going to cover the games, but we're going to cover the game within the game, which is what this show is about, helping you make the proper decisions and proper bets when it comes to the multi-billion-dollar industry that is sports betting. So we're going to jump right in. Boys, thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. Don't take all
Thanks for having
us on.
If you guys decide to jump in your apps and place any of these bets, or I convince you otherwise, I apologize if they lose. And Venmo me if they win. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into the game. So the first weekend's matchup is the Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels heading to Philadelphia to play the Eagles, 3 o'clock on Sunday. Over under the game is 47.5, and the line is Washington +6. The last 2 matchups of the team, they played in December. They played in Washington, and Washington won 36-33 for a point total of 69. They played in November as well, and Philadelphia won 26-18 for a point total of 40. So a couple notable injuries from the game before we get into the picks and who everybody likes in this game. A couple notable injuries. Did not practice. Dallas Goedert did not practice this week. He does have a knee injury. He is a pretty big important piece of that Eagles passing offense that needs all the help that it can get. And also on the other side of the coin, the much-needed rush defense of the Commanders is going to be lacking the presence of one of my favorite all-time linebackers, very underrated Bobby Wagner, who did not practice. So with that being said, boys, let's go around the cast. Let's see who everybody likes, and then we'll kind of get into some of the statistics and look at the full matchup.
I'll be in later.
Look at what some of the robots have to say about this, as we have some AI reading the games as well. So I'll start with you, Mike. Eagles, Commanders, who do you like? What do you think of the over-under? Over-under 47.5. They scored 69 in their last matchup, 40 the matchup before. Last time they were in Philly, they only totaled 40. It was a little more defensive game. Jaden Daniels, as we know, is the hottest commodity in the NFL as far as future quarterbacks go right now. What do you think about the game?
You know, I'm gonna go with the underdog. I think the Commanders kind of take it, and I also like the over. I don't like Washington's defense at all, especially missing Bobby Wagner. Their run defense is already suspect. That being said, I also think that, unfortunately for the Eagles, and why they get scored on so much in the one game against the Commanders is because their DBs have been rather suspect, surprisingly enough, even though they have Quinyon Mitchell, Slay, and DeJean out there, as well as Blankenship. They have, whether it be just because Vic Fangio likes to run that like heavy zone and to just rely on the pass rush. Washington's entire scheme is to get the ball out of Jaden Daniels' hands, and Jaden Daniels has been very smart when he uses his legs. So I think if they try and blitz, it's not going to go well for them. So I could see this being a really high-scoring game, just handing off the ball to Saquon. Washington's not going to be able to stop him, but I highly doubt that the Eagles will be able to stop Jaden Daniels and that quick pass game, even though both of these teams know them well. I'll be interested to see how Jaden does in this game because, I mean, even though he's been in big moments before at LSU, you know, he's a rookie quarterback and he's in the NFC Championship game in a Commanders team that nobody really gave 2 shakes to. But I like the Commanders, and I like the over. I think it's going to be a really high-scoring game between both offenses.
How would you like to watch this game as a Giants fan? Going through Hard Knocks and watching the owner of the team say to the general manager, I'm not going to be able to sleep at night if the Eagles end up with Saquon Barkley. And also his teenage son sitting on the couch when asked,
do you want to win?
He says, I would not trade Saquon Barkley and I would draft Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
So that general manager still has a job, by the way. He also rides Peloton. Shout out to Peloton on here. But how do you make those decisions in the offseason, keep your job, and then watch this game and be able to sleep at night knowing you have who almost led the entire NFL for single season rushing yardage, playing against one of the most high upside rookie quarterbacks on the other side that you also had a chance to draft. I mean, we think we're miserable at Browns fans, but at least we don't have to watch this game knowing that.
Right. Yeah.
We do have our own other misery we have to watch in the AFC game, which we'll cover later. But that's neither here nor there. Jersey Joe, what do you think of this game? This is I know you're going to like this game. You're thinking of the Hogs. You're thinking of the NFC North. You're thinking of running the football. You're thinking of real gridiron, cold, real football. Oh, yeah. I know you're looking forward to this game. Who you like in this game?
I like Washington, man. I got the steam to be able to come in and just knock off really the top team in the NFC the way they did, really beat the holy hell out of them. So I like Washington. I just don't think they can win like they did last week and then come in and not do the same thing. I like that. I like Jaden Daniels. I just like there's just seems a lot of momentum right there. And certainly I'm with Mike on the over. I think it'll be a close game, but there'll be a lot of points scored. But I'm going I'd probably be a 3-point win, but I'm going Washington. And I hope it's Washington too.
Cover. And what do you think of the over-under, Joe? What do you think of 47.5? Do you think more defensive game, or what do you think?
Oh, no. It'll be over. Be over that. I'm saying probably similar to the last game, probably get up in the 60, 70-point range.
Gotcha. And Joseph, what do you think of this? What do you think of this game, Rusty? What do you like about this game?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the over. Initially, I was going to go with the under, but I didn't know Bobby Wagner was out. That's obviously a big loss for them on the against the rush there with Saquon.
He's a DMP, so he's not officially out yet. But if he is out, I mean,
they still got Deron Payne up front. They got some other guys, some good veterans up there. I mean, I like their back end with Lattimore and Mike Sanders still. I think it's a pretty good tandem. Sanders still had a nice game last week. But I'm going to go with the Commanders. I'd take the 6 points. I think Jaden Daniels right now, I think the way he's passing the ball, using his legs. I mean, he just went and played a pretty good Bucs team on the road, won that. Then he won on the road in Detroit, which is really one of the most hostile environments in the league as a rookie. I think Jaden Daniels right now, the reason why I would take him, he's just playing. He's like a kid playing 7-on-7 in the backyard. He don't know what to do. He's just a rookie. He's just out there off of raw talent. Like he's not. Yeah, I think that helps rookies that are as talented as him because they don't think too much in these games. Yeah. They're just out there playing ball. They're playing free.
He's already overachieved. He feels like he's already done.
Yeah.
Greater than most people would expect his rookie year. Yeah.
I mean, the Eagles are a little better this year in the pass coverage than they were last year, obviously with the draft and stuff. But I think him and Scary Terry got a really good connection right now. Terry McLaurin's rolling, and they got good running backs. I think they'll be able to chew the clock a little bit. I think Jaden can use his legs, put together some drives, and maybe keep the ball away from the Eagles because the Eagles are going to try to do the same thing. You know, Jalen Hurts is probably going to throw for less than 100 yards, and they're going to just keep running the ball. But I think if I'm watching, I just got to force a turnover or two. If I get one turnover, I think this game will come down to special teams, honestly. I think it's going to be a special teams play, whether it's punt, kickoff, something, a missed field goal, something. But I'm going to go with the Commanders. I just think with the Jaden Daniels, he's just playing like a kid in 7-on-7 right now in the backyard.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna kind of side with a little bit of the math here. We went 3 in a row, Commanders. As much as I'd love to see the Commanders win, I don't know. I think if the Eagles are healthy enough, and I think if they just do what they're going to do on the ground, there is no snow in this game, by the way. It's 35 degrees, so it's just normal winter weather. But there's something about Saquon this year that just tells me that he is not going to stop till he gets to the Super Bowl. That this is his year to make that he is going to make it to the Super Bowl, and this is what he's going to do this year. If you look at the Eagles-Commanders matchups, as great as Jaden Daniels is, Philly's won 3 of the last 4. Philly typically dominates this lineup. And for what I'm going to show you next, this AI simulation here. So this AI bot will actually run 20,000 simulations on a game. It'll run the money line, the spread, the likelihood of a score, as you see in the percentages there. And then it'll also show you the likelihood of one single player to score a touchdown, because most common bets are just involving people betting on people to score touchdowns, money lines, spreads, and etc. So out of the 20,000 simulations, 78% of those simulations thought the Eagles would win the game. 59% thought they'd cover 6 points, and 63% thought the game would go over 47.5. And then it'll show you the common scores that it generated from the simulation. Now, granted, this is a computer, so the computer doesn't dictate what happens on the game. But if you're going by the data and statistically, the data is suggesting that the Eagles are just going to hand it to Saquon 25 to 30 times. His over-under for the amount of rushing attempts is 25, which is on the high side. They are going to drill this bottom 3 rated run defense that if the Detroit Lions would have done that, Jahmyr Gibbs halfway through the second quarter had 92 yards on 9 carries. There was no reason for them to start bombing the ball all over the field and play the Commanders style of game. If they would have pounded the Commanders, we would be probably talking about the Lions and Eagles right now if they would have had a different approach to the game. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to take away something from that, not play cute ball. They're going to run it right at them. You're going to see 3 carries a series plus a tush push every way, all up and down the field, field goals and solid defense. And I actually like slightly under, and the Eagles to win this game to advance to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I mean, I can. I thought the Lions, they should have ran the ball more early and often, and they didn't. I mean, they were averaging almost 10 yards a carry, like you said. I looked at the end of the game, like, how do you lose that game at home when you're averaging that many yards a carry? But
yep.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Eagles definitely have the line of scrimmage, which usually I favor in the playoffs. But if I was betting, if I want to win some more money, I'd probably go with just the +6. I think it's just a good it's a good wild card pick. But I totally could see it. I mean, Saquon, if they ran for 10 yards a pop last week, I wonder what he could do in this game. It's pretty scary. If he's
I like one of my top props this week. Instead of betting Saquon, to bet on a touchdown, because obviously he's probably likely to score a touchdown. He does in almost every game, and every game they play the Commanders. If you bet Saquon for 2 touchdowns, which he does sometimes, it's +245, meaning for every 100 you would bet on that, you'd make an additional $245. I also like on the other side of that, 2 goal line pass interference calls where you get Jalen Hurts down to the 1 yard line. You already know what they're going to do down there. They're going to do 2 tush pushes. You have 2 carries for 2 yards and it's +475. You bet 100 on it, pays $575. And for some reason, I really think Jaden Daniels rushing could be the key to their game. As that blitz comes in, as that pocket breaks down, he takes off and goes for 11 or 12 carries and rushes for 80 yards and possibly a touchdown, because obviously we know he has that ability. And hopefully whatever future quarterback of the Cleveland Browns we get also has that ability to when the pocket collapses, make something happen with his legs. So I do like that prop as well. Game-wise, as we look at the Super Bowl favorite odds, you can start to look ahead at what some of the odds are and what some of the bettors and Vegas thinks of who's going to win the Super Bowl ahead of this matchup. The Eagles, believe it or not, of these 4 teams, are the favorite to win the Super Bowl at +180. Huh. So, do I know why that is? No. Do I think Jalen Hurts is that great of a quarterback? No. I think when his legs eventually go away one day, he is below average as far as his skill set, accuracy, and everything else. But as of right now, with Saquon and that defense and that big-ass offensive line, which is what it comes down to in the winter and winning games, unless the Commanders figure out a way to keep him under 100 yards and scoring multiple touchdowns, I don't know that they can beat the Eagles. I don't know the Eagles are going to give them the time on the clock necessary to score 45 points on them like they did Detroit. I just don't know that happens. By the way, breaking news, Robert Saleh, defensive coordinator of the Niners.
Welcome back to
just went back.
Oh, yeah.
Before we went on there too, we had Brian Schottenheimer named the head coach of the Cowboys.
Yeah, Schotty and Saleh back with the Niners. So
I can't believe Pete Carroll with the Raiders.
Yeah.
What's that?
I can't believe Pete Carroll. I mean, I can believe it, but just Pete Carroll with the Raiders.
He doesn't strike as a Vegas guy jogging around in his Air Monarchs ahead of the game.
Well, Pete Carroll is a West Coast guy, but I thought he'd end up back at USC or, you know what I mean. But here, I mean, it's kind of intriguing though.
You know who should be that running backs coach, right? He should already be on the phone with Marshawn Lynch. I mean, just put him on the sideline, make him the running backs coach. You got Brady there, you got Marshawn Lynch there. I mean, just do it. Just make him the running backs coach and just put them on Hard Knocks and let me watch that. I was just watching the clip last night of Marshawn Lynch when he went to practice with the high school kids. You remember that?
Yeah.
He's stiff arming them all over the place, throwing them, chucking them all over.
I remember when he yelled at the kids, so he had to go apologize to the mom up in the stands and explain to her what he was doing. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. But back to you. I mean, to your, were you going to Super Bowl odds?
Yeah, we can go to Super Bowl odds. I just the Eagles are plus 180. The Commanders are the lowest of the four at plus 750. Meaning, if you really like the Commanders and you really thought it was their year, if you put $100 on it, it pays you 850 if the Commanders win. There's 4 teams left. Like that's pretty stacked against odds to be what it is. We're going to cover some other odds and some other futures later because those are always kind of cool to look at. A bunch of my buddies actually bet the Ohio State Buckeyes to win the national championship before the season even started. When they were at a Guardians game, they were getting plus 500 on that. They made a couple $100. One made $1,000 betting on the Ohio State Buckeyes ahead of time. So they were happy to see that. But future bets are kind of cool when you think of the future of a franchise and what they could become versus what they are. But it's always interesting also to see what Vegas thinks that line is. I know we talked about this on the show a couple times, but if the Detroit Lions would have won the Super Bowl, it was the biggest financial loss in Vegas history based on how many people had bet on the Lions to win the Super Bowl. So Chris and I had joked many, many times that there's no way that's going to happen. There's no way the Lions can win. Vegas won't let it happen. If it's close, if it's within a field goal, that kicker's taking a bribe and kicking it into the stands. All the stuff that you think about could be happening. Thus the name of the show, The Fix. We could all be watching a WWE simulation and just loving every minute of it. Lucky for us, I love WWE. So, that's what it is.
Speaking of which, you see Hulk Hogan's coming to town next week?
Oh, is he coming back to town? What's he doing?
New beverage, another alcoholic beverage.
So him and Ric Flair are both in the beverage team.
The Hulkster, dude. I'll go there. I want to go see the Hulkster.
I was at the Cavs game the other day, and they put up an ad for Woo energy drink. I'm like,
I didn't know. You know what? To Ric Flair's credit, I know he ain't the one in there brewing and mixing and whatever.
Did you try it, Mike? Did you try it?
I have tried it. It is actually pretty good. They're
Is
pretty
it
good.
really?
I'm not even gonna lie. Like it is, as far as like celebrity drinks, it's pretty good. Like it is 10 times better than Zoa, the Rocks. That's awful. You want to talk about bad? That's a horrible drink.
If we ever get the band back together one day, Mike, we can make that official drink of the morning meetings, the Woo energy drink.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the second game. 6:30, 3.5 hours later, our second game, the classic. The game everyone thought it would be in the NFC Championship. 35 degrees. Second half of the game, 25 degrees and snow. In KC, Buffalo and the Bills roll into Kansas City. Buffalo has won 3 of the last 4 games against KC. The over-under on the game is 48.5, and Buffalo is the underdog at plus 2.5. So 1.5 in some books that you'll look at it. I know the AI had 1.5 as well. So 1.5 or 2.5, Kansas City's favored by. A couple things to go over in the game script ahead of making your predictions. At the end of the Bills-Ravens game, the Bills secondary started to take a hit, and I could already see what was coming next. The Bills make it through here. You had Taylor Rapp leave the game. Teron Johnson got hurt late in the game. Both are DNPs. They did not practice. Matt Milano got banged up a little bit, although he was limited practice. And, of course, for the Chiefs, fully healthy. Other than McCole Hardman, the receiver they cast away a long time ago that's not going to play for the rest of the year, the Chiefs are coming in at full strength and fully healthy to play the Buffalo Bills. Mike, the professional fan, who do you like in the game of the year? Which, by the way, if Mark Andrews doesn't take that pass off the chest, we could be seeing Ravens Chiefs.
True, but if a couple calls didn't go the Chiefs' way, it might have been the Texans here as well.
I agree. Which, by the way, did you see the Texans fired their OC?
Yeah, I did. Bobby Slowick, Audi 5000.
It must have been his fault. They lost their 2 best receivers and they couldn't move the ball without Dell and Diggs.
Yeah, and the refs not
the
refs didn't put in their contacts or whatever. But you can't find me, NFL. Wow.
One day, let's hope they can.
Yeah, one day I hope they can. Yeah, I'll say whatever they want me to say at that point.
Yep.
I ain't above saying that. I'll say whatever you want. So sign my paycheck. But man, this is a tough one. I ain't gonna lie. You said the over under's 47, 48.
Over under's 48.5. The last 2 games, Buffalo won at home in November of this year. They won 30-21 for a total of 51. Last January they played in the divisional round, and KC won 27-24 for a total of 51.
I'm gonna go under for sure.
Okay. All right.
I think it goes without saying, and then this is going to sound dumb because Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback of the team, but I do think this is probably one of the most, and it's funny too because they were the 1 seed, and this is going to sound dumb, but I think this is one of the least talented Chiefs teams of the past couple of years. Offensively, they've had some struggles. They've needed some help from the refs. I really think the Texans were the better team in the game against the Chiefs, and the Chiefs surprisingly struggled against the run. And I think the Bills are much better at that with Josh Allen running, with James Cook has become a top 5 back in the league. I think they're going to keep it to very short intermediate passes to kind of lessen the load. Receivers, because I mean the receiving core is just okay. Man, but it's really hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes in these situations. I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to say the Bills finally pull it off, and Josh Allen has a masterclass. Josh Allen's just having the best year of his career, and I really think he's going to like use that and will himself there. I don't like the fact that the Bills, who their secondary is already taking some hits, is probably going to be playing very hurt though. But I'm still going to take the under. I think both teams run the ball. And if it's going to come down to that, I think the Bills are just better at it.
Okay. All right. What do you so what do you think about the fact that Taylor Swift is battling Haley Steinfeld in this game, Mike?
Is what?
The battle of Taylor Swift and Haley Steinfeld. What do you think of the real battle that goes on? The two pops.
I hope, just because Haley Steinfeld doesn't like pollute my airways as much. Yeah. I hope Haley Steinfeld wins. She seems cool. She doesn't try and make me listen to her top hot 100 on 98.1 with Ryan Seacrest.
If the Chiefs make the Super Bowl, I guarantee there's a prop in Vegas of how many times Taylor Swift is shown on the screen. I guarantee you can bet it. I guarantee that will be a bet. But which, by the way, did you see Bill Belichick on the Manning cast when they went to Taylor Swift and he didn't know his mic was hot and he was like, "Oh." And Eli just laughed.
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, they flashed Taylor Swift and Bill Belichick's mic was still on. And he goes, "Ugh." And Peyton and Eli just start dying laughing, dude. They just start dying laughing. It's a great clip that's on there. But you're barking up Josh Allen. You like Buffalo. That's good. You got Washington and Buffalo in the Super Bowl. Is Josh Allen the MVP of the league, Mike?
I mean,
he is the favorite in Vegas, by the way. He is the favorite in Vegas.
Really?
Yep.
I know.
And postseason's not supposed to have anything to do with it.
It's supposed to be the most important player to their team. If it were me, I would have given it to Saquon Barkley. I think Saquon Barkley deserves it. I think he would have hit over 2,000 yards rushing if the Eagles would have let him.
Well, he did hit 2,000, but he didn't break Eric Dickerson's record because
that's what I meant.
And I respect that because even if he had broken Eric Dickerson, yes. But even if he would have broken his record, he did it in a 17-game season, not 16. It doesn't count.
Yeah.
I was very respectful for Saquon sitting that game because the true record that the media wanted to salute for was with an extra game.
Right. And, I still think he should have been MVP, but if it was down to Josh and Lamar, I mean, I can see why Josh would win it. He is the most important player to his team. Lamar doesn't have the ineptitude, I guess, as far as a wide receiving core. I know Ravens fans always like to say their wide receiver core is like trash, but it's like Mark Andrews has been good for a very, very long time. Yep. Nelson Aguilar is okay. Rashad Bateman is okay. I would say there are only like 2 receivers on the Bills that I think are okay. One is mediocre. Yep. I mean, Josh Allen's put up those numbers with Mac Hollins, rookie Keon Coleman, Khalil Sheik, who's a journeyman, and Amari Cooper without legs. So,
yeah, which Andrew Berry's looking like a genius for that trade.
I think Josh. I wouldn't blame him.
I already know you're going to cover the fact that Andrew Berry looks like a genius for dumping Amari Cooper, but we also could not have paid him first.
Oh, they took most of the contract. Anyway, I won't get into it.
But that's okay. I'm wearing Browns gear, Mike. I'm here for the Browns stuff. I'm wearing Browns gear. I'm wearing a Browns jersey. I know what it is, so I'm good with that. But all right, so you got Washington, Buffalo. You like Josh Allen. When it comes to MVP, I always try to equate it. I think Joe Burrow is the MVP of the league, to be honest. But his team was so bad at the beginning of the year, he's not going to get proper credit.
Joe Burrow.
But if you subtract someone from a team, what's left behind of that team, and can they win without him? That's what determines an MVP in my mind. If you take Lamar off the Ravens, you got Josh Johnson under center. If you take Josh Allen off the Bills, you got Mitch Trubisky under center. But if you take Saquon out of the Eagles, Kenneth Gainwell gets up and down the field pretty well if you've watched him play. He's one of my sneaky plays for the Peas. They can run the ball, maybe without Saquon, maybe not as well. But quarterback, that's why quarterback usually gets that MVP, because the fall off to their backup is so huge and different that, I mean, if you took Joe Burrow off the Bengals, they may be the worst team in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
They're in the running. They're in the conversation for the worst team. The other teams could figure it out, a way to go 500 or mediocre or whatever. You take Joe Burrow off the Bengals, and they are horrible.
That he's up for comeback player of the year. Joe Burrow is up for comeback player of the year. Is that real?
That shouldn't be a thing. But I do know the postseason has nothing to do with awards, because if it did, Stefanski wouldn't have won Coach of the Year last year. Flacco wouldn't have won Comeback Player of the Year last year. Jim Schwartz wouldn't have won Assistant Coach of the Year after what happened with the Texans.
Yeah, no.
So the postseason is not. They're operating by the rules when they put those people and give those people awards after that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Josh Allen doing it. I know that. I think he's the MVP. He's the most important player to his team.
And the pain of watching this game as Browns fans, knowing that we passed on both these quarterbacks. I mean, as much as Baker was the best quarterback we've had in 30 years, and he's slightly above average, Mike, would you give me that credit at least? He's a slightly above average quarterback.
I'll give you that. I never said he was.
Who does not take good care of the ball, but he did throw for 40 touchdowns and 4,500 yards without his number 2 receiver all year this year, and a banged up Mike Evans, so he does have some credit. He is by no stretch of the imagination Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. If Josh Allen would have donned a Browns uniform, we would have a statue so big of him that you wouldn't be able to see the wall where the old witness sign was, where LeBron was. I mean, it would be like just a heroic figure in there. The big body, burly, I'm going to lower my shoulder and just run over linebackers, quarterback. I mean, can you imagine if we had Josh Allen?
I mean, if we just had Lamar even. Lamar would.
I could imagine. He wouldn't have the career that he's had so far.
As far as the 2017 draft, the reason why we don't hear a lot of people be like, "Oh, we could have had Patrick Mahomes," because we did pick Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I understand that. Yep, I do understand that.
I give him a pass on that, but they did have the 12th pick. Well, he was on a 10. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean the Josh Allen misevaluation. That's probably the one.
Yeah, that one hurts. That one hurts.
Well,
Lamar one hurts the most, I think.
That one.
I think it hurts more because he's in our division. We see him twice a year. That one hurts.
But that one's going to live with us all the way to the Hall of Fame.
He nailed that one.
Now, even worse though, the Bears picked Mitch Trubisky with that next pick, in that draft, and took him ahead of Patrick Mahomes. And the Bengals took wide receiver John Ross.
He ran the fast 40.
To their credit, John Ross is one of the greatest NFL busts ever. There's no reason John Ross should have been bad. That is all on John Ross. If you look back at his draft board and his combine and everything else, it is astonishing. John Ross didn't work.
I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah, Mitch should have stayed in college one more year. It would have helped him. I watched Mitch in high school. I remember we stood at his locker. We played at the National at Mentor.
Yeah, he played at Mentor, right?
And he played at Mentor. I remember we used their locker. We played the national championship there, and I was reading all his letters in his locker and stuff. We watched him play in person, and it was him and his tight end Fritz he had. He was pretty good. Went to Carolina, I think, too. But yeah, he should have stayed another year. If he would have stayed in college one more year, that season he played was the only season he played, and he just came right out. And then he went to the Bears of all franchises, which is like the Browns. So, with quarterbacks.
Only a bunch of Northeast Ohioans would talk about Mitch Trubisky during AFC NFC Championship week.
He was talented, though.
I mean, are we going to see a Mitch Trubisky snap? What are the odds on that? Do we see a snap? Do we see a kneel down?
No. I mean, unless I don't see them being like up that
They
much.
gotta be
I mean,
up.
maybe
They gotta be up 10. I mean, they gotta be up 10 plus with like
He'll catch.
15 seconds.
I think
unless it's
I
like
read
one of
the-
those things where it's like, oh, we got this in the bag. You know, they used up all their timeouts. Mitch, why don't you go out there and take a knee? Why don't you go take a knee for us?
or maybe they'll
I
have
mean,
him
I can
catch
see
the
them doing
field
that.
goal and
Also,
play.
it depends. I don't even know if they like him. So, like, if they like him, maybe. Like, if he is a locker room guy, they're like, yeah, Mitch, go take a knee.
In the world of sports gambling, by the way, and most people don't think of it when they're watching the game, but in the world where you can bet on QB rushing yards, and that's usually a pretty easy prop to beat if you have a quarterback like Baker Mayfield that just leave the pocket and get like 15 yards on a random thing, that usually covers his prop. But what most people don't think about is when they take a knee, the -1s and 2s count against it. So if you come to the end of the game and they're winning, those yards get subtracted from your total and can cost you to win or bet or not. So it's something that people actually have to calculate. They consider it a rush. So it's just a weird extra stat that's in there.
Make Mitch Trubisky -3 yards.
So Mike has the Commanders and the Bills in the bowl. Jersey Joe, who you got in the AFC clash of the Titans? Mahomes, Allen. Who you got?
I'm doing the unthinkable, dude. I'm riding with the Bills. I just think it's Josh Allen's year. I mean, it's tough. My gosh, is it tough? Mahomes, AFC Championship at home, going for the three-peat. I mean, then the thing I worry about the fix is the fixing. I mean, they love the storyline. You know what I mean? Pat Riley wants it more than anybody because he gets paid. He patented that term, so he gets paid. So, but I just think it's at some point. Josh Allen wins that game. I think it's this year. As far as the over/under, I'm kind of with Mike on that one too. I think it's going to be a run-heavy game. I think that's certainly where the Bills have that advantage. It's almost like they got a 12th man out there with Josh Allen's legs. Mm-hmm. And we've seen him do it so many times, man. And when he does that shit on like third down, that's so demoralizing to a defense. When a quarterback just takes off, you think you got him in a third long, you got him in a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6. You think you're gonna get him off the field, and then he just rolls out and he gets that first down. Man, it just sucks the wind out of a defense. So I think I'm going with the under, and I do think the Bills win. And I'm excited for that game. I think the Redskins and the Bills played in the Super Bowl back in
they did
early '90s, wasn't it? The last time the Redskins were in.
The Redskins and the Bills played in 1992. The Redskins won 37-24 under the guide of Mark Rippon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See. Yeah, I'd like to see that matchup again. I would love to see that matchup. I'd love to see Josh Allen there, and I'd like to see Jaden Daniels there. I think it'd be pretty exciting.
The Commanders
it's definitely
and the Bills,
the Super Bowl everyone wants to see.
The Commanders and the Bills. Yeah, 30 years ago, the Bills played their last Super Bowl. They had lost for 4 years in a row. I mean,
I remember.
We've been through it as Browns fans. Imagine if we got there and lost 4 years in a row. I mean, I still remember how my stepdad acted when we lost the AFC Championship, and the curse.
Dude, those are some great teams too. My gosh, Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Bruce.
Yep.
I mean, those are some loaded up teams.
Hall of Famers. Yeah. I mean, Josh Allen has run for 500 plus yards and over 12 touchdowns the past 2 years. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, us Browns would consider that a good running back.
I'd love to see the data on how many yards he runs for on third down. I don't know if that's out there.
I'm sure it is out there. I'm sure it is. So you got Commanders, Buffalo, Rusty. Who you got? Joseph, who you got in the bowl?
Man, this is tough. You know, part of me wants to go with the Chiefs because it's Mahomes and Andy Reid, but I look at this matchup and the weather in the second half possibly, but I look at the Chiefs this year and I just don't see the weapons so far outside of Travis Kelce. So far for the playoffs, Travis Kelce leads the receiving department, 7 of 817 yards. Xavier Worthy's second.
You might have frozen.
Was it Gray? catch.
We're losing you, Joe. So
Yeah,
bad.
sorry. I think you froze up for a minute. No worries.
Oh,
you're back.
yeah. I mean, one receiver so far in the playoffs, Xavier Worthy with receptions. I like the Bills. I mean, I look at their stats right here in the playoffs so far. Shakir, 128 yards, 12 of 13. Curtis Samuel, 77 yards and a touchdown. Kincaid and Knox both getting involved. I think they'll run the 2 tight end sets in this game, go heavy set. Especially if the weather gets crappy in the second half, run more 12 personnel.
Yeah.
And I like that with Kincaid and Knox. And then you got Curtis Samuel you can do some stuff with, Shakir. But also, I think the guy that's going to have a big game is Cook. I think Cook's going to have a great game. I think
You
he's
think
going to
they're
run the
going to
ball.
run it at him?
Yeah, I thought he got out to a slow start last week, but in the second half of that game was against the Ravens. He started to get going in the fourth a little bit more with some big runs that helped him out. And then Josh did what he does. But I think as long as Josh Allen doesn't turn the ball over, I think they'll win by 10.
Yep. Looks like last game they played, Kansas City did their best to try to box out and slow down the rush. They had 31. They still tried to run it at them. They had 31 carries for 104 yards, 12 carries for Allen for 55 and a touchdown. Only 9 carries for Cook, with 2 touchdowns though. But I think that was game script. I think if I remember correctly, they were even at half. But the Chiefs did their best to try to shut them down. Same way on the other side, Mahomes had one of his weird 196-yard games, 3 touchdowns and 2 picks. So the Bills were in Buffalo and hyped up and won that game 30-21. Jersey, Josh Allen has 4,142 yards rushing on 3rd down in his career.
Well, I think too with the lack of weapons for the Chiefs, I expect the Bills to really dial up the pressure on Mahomes. You guys like Matt Milano blitzing in there. I like Matt Milano a lot. Ed Oliver has been great. Had a big game last week. I mean, I think they got
very okay.
Yeah, I mean, they got the personnel to get it done. I mean, I think this is their year. They're rolling. I don't think the Chiefs. I mean, you look at their record, and obviously the back-to-back champs. You think, well, I mean, they're pretty good. Obviously, I mean, how the Bills going to beat them? But I just think, I agree with Mike. I think the Chiefs at some point, I think they go down. I just don't see the offensive weaponry this year outside of Travis Kelce. I don't see. And a game like this, I think it's where it catches up to them.
Yeah, they're the way the Chiefs play, because I watch a lot of Chiefs football now, because they usually get primetime spot and they're usually the only game of relevance on at that time. It kind of seems like this year they've been just playing with teams and not really revealing all of what they got in the bag and kind of moving stuff around. I think from a story you kind of have to determine, okay, if there was something behind it and we were all being shown a movie, and how would you like that movie script to end? Is a better story a team of one of the most notorious fan bases, much so just like the Browns, getting to their first Super Bowl in 30 years and playing in that bowl? Or is it a better story for the Chiefs to win again, establish a true dynasty, have Andy Reid and Travis Kelce retire after the game, and have Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift on national TV?
I would prefer the previous, but that's just me.
Obviously, we know what you prefer, but both are very movie script endings that could happen. So if there truly was something behind it, we were being shown a movie. What do you think the world wants you to see? I know that I want to see the Bills go, because I respect Bills fans. Some of the greatest Browns games and tailgates I've ever been to are against the Buffalo Bills. For many, many years, I would make sure I did not miss it, because we as a group of fans, much so like Lions fans, can all agree that we've been through the absolute shit.
We're the same.
And we have survived. And
Lake Erie bros.
Owed a win. Like, they're owed this. But I think if the Bills lose this game, it is deflating for their franchise. To go through a season and Josh Allen have the year he had, and to beat the Chiefs in 3 of the 4 last matchups, and go to this game tomorrow and lose this game, or I should say Sunday, and lose this game, it would be deflating. But
Sean McDermott has to win this game.
But there's one fact that you guys may not know. We did a football playoff pool for $100 a person. We all drew 2 teams, one from the AFC and NFC, just like we used to do back in the day at work. And guess who drew the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl this year? The ultimate jinx, Chris Gerganis. So let's rally the wagons for the Buffalo Bills. Bills Mafia, stand up. There is no way he's winning that money. You know it already. He has jinxed the franchise. Taylor Swift's next album will be a flop, and Travis Kelce is having an affair right now because Chris made that poll.
I think the
Buffalo Bills and the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl are my pick.
Hell yeah.
To go back to your storyline thing, though, what's the better storyline? What are the odds? What are the odds Travis Kelce retires if they lose? Probably very low. He's probably going to want to come back.
Very low.
I think it's
gonna
high.
run it back.
I mean, how many rings does bro have? 3?
Yeah, but if they lose, I don't think he's going to go out. I think if I'm the commissioner, Patrick Mahomes is your biggest asset of your league. If we're talking about the fix,
Man.
Keep Travis Kelce around as long as you can with him because I look at the rest of that. I look at the rest of their the weapons they have.
Well, but he looked old.
But I look at the rest of their weapons, and you keep Travis around with him as long as you can to help him out.
Yeah,
I would say
he doesn't move great though. One of my sneaky picks for a touchdown score. He actually had 2 touchdowns when they played him this year. Is the guy who's taken Travis Kelce's place, Noah Gray. He is underrated, athletic, and he has learned from one of the greatest tight ends. He's ready to fill that role whenever Travis leaves. Travis has grown a dad bod and is ready to go on tour with Taylor Swift and be a billionaire's boyfriend or husband for the rest of his life.
He's a podcaster.
I think
he's going to be a reality show host,
I think
podcaster.
He'll get a TV gig too.
40? What is he, 36, 37?
Yeah, he's ready to go on TV.
Yeah, I mean, the reason he's still impossible to defend isn't because he runs past anybody. He doesn't run routes. There's no route. He goes out, finds a hole in the middle of the field, and turns around, and him and Mahomes are so dialed in, the minute he turns his shoulders, he throws in the ball. There are no routes for Travis Kelce.
Dude, he's got quite the personality. He could command a lot of dough on TV sets or
for sure.
You know what I mean? If you look at like
he had
especially if you get like Taylor with him, oh my god!
Because he would add like some humor to it, and I mean, if you look at what
Gronk,
what's his name's doing on ESPN, McAfee.
Oh,
when you sit and you watch a college game with him, on his set, it's funnier than hell, man. It's crazy.
He's got a great personality.
You got the swearing. Yes, I mean, he's kind of like that. So I mean, he could command a lot of money on TV. And I wouldn't be surprised if he does retire, even if they lose, because that's what he's looking forward to doing. Body's beat down.
He's 35. By the way, he's 35.
If they lose.
Yeah, he's good with whatever it is. But I mean, if
that's old for tight end. My gosh.
Obviously, being a girl dad and being surrounded by women for the majority of my life when I'm not at work or on a podcast with you guys, I can tell you Taylor Swift is the most successful when she finds people in different chapters and goes through the chapters with them. She sells a ton of albums after she breaks up, but she's at the point of her life where it's time for her to have a pregnancy album. It's time for her to have a marriage album. It's time for her to have a divorce album. And she needs to complete her character arc and fill all the voids of the women to sell the most amount of records. When she goes through those chapters, as she ages out, she's going to do the marriage album, the pregnancy album, then the divorce album. And they're all just going to sell like hotcakes. I mean, she got to hit all the niche markets. So it's time for her to get into that character arc with Travis.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, I can see that because her career is kind of like this year, kind of ran aground a little bit. So she's got to do something to change up. She's got to switch gears.
Unbelievable. So I got Bills, Eagles. I think that's a good game.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I don't think anyone in the world wants to see.
I wouldn't be upset with that if the Commanders here. I'll be honest. I'm like the rest of any NFL fan that doesn't live in Missouri or Kansas. I am sick of the Chiefs.
I totally agree.
But he's getting Mahomes is getting Brady. Mahomes is getting Brady.
That's the way it is. If you're not part of the party, you don't want them invited. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. Like
it's Brady heat. It's Jordan heat. It's LeBron heat. It's like when someone is so good and dominant at something, and somebody can't look at it and help them find their own misery inside of it. They immediately want them to fail. Our society is absolutely in love with the demise. We love the fall. I mean, the American people love the fall. I mean, look, have you heard P. Diddy as much as you've heard it in the past 2 years about anything? I mean, the guy made music 25 years ago that was relevant. I've heard P. Diddy mentioned more times in the last 2 years than ever before because the guy's doing all the crazy stuff that he's doing. We love watching the fall. They can't wait for Mahomes to start throwing picks. They can't wait for Mahomes to get benched. They can't wait for any of that stuff to happen. Unfortunately, the guy just keeps showing up and winning. I mean, he's a gamer. He runs a 5-flat
No,
40 and
all
somehow he
respect to
scoots
him.
for
Just like
25
Brady, I
yard
respected
gains.
Brady when he was playing, but it was like I just got sick of it, dude.
I
mean,
think
If I see the Chiefs,
Go ahead.
if
Go
I
ahead,
had to see the Chiefs, if I had to see the Chiefs in the Eagles Super Bowl again, that's my least interested matchup. I don't want to see Jalen Hurts throw for 95 yards.
Yeah.
And watch Mahomes and Taylor Swift and Travis. I just can't.
Yeah,
That
I think
told me it was
I think the American
boring.
people right now are kind of over it. They need
They're
a
ready
break
for the
from
Bills.
it. Yeah, it is. It's that story. That's what people are. That's what they're wanting. Here, I'm not tired. I mean, Mike, I understand what you're saying, but here, I look forward to many more years of Mahomes and watching this guy play. But
yeah.
you know what I mean? I kind of look at it from a career standpoint. So
It'll
I don't
just-
mind them falling off this year, not winning, and somebody else winning. I mean, they can come back 2 years, 3 years from now, get another one.
I'm
But
sure they will.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he's going to get his, and that's what they want. They're trying to make another Brady out of him. And
they can try
but
all
I
they
think
want,
right
baby.
now,
He ain't playing into his 40s.
No, he ain't.
No,
no. But they want him decorated that way. So you know what I mean. So, but I think right now, what sells to the American public right now is the Bills and
Jaden Daniels is a hot.
and Washington,
commodity.
yeah, and even Washington, man.
His
And
rookie cards have 10x in value.
that's a market that they want to win because they're trying to build some crazy ass stadium there. I mean, to the point where they had it snuck into a bill that didn't get passed to fund it. So that's what's hot right now, Buffalo, man, and Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting. I think this matchup. I think both these teams are gonna try to play between the tackles and run at each other and try to keep the other offense off the field. I was just gonna ask you to bring up what the robot said. So what's the top line say? 58% money line on the Chiefs, 55% Chiefs to cover, and then 58 or 59% with the over, and then the most common scores. Interesting, most common touchdown score. We got two former Browns going at it between Kareem Hunt and Amari Cooper. The way they've utilized Kareem Hunt, they've really had Pacheco taking a back seat to him inside the 20s, knowing that Hunt just has an absolute nose for the goal line. He's actually one of my favorite props is plus 180 to score a touchdown, in addition to Noah Gray. And then Josh Allen for 2 TDs is also plus 500, which I think is a really good bet to happen. My sneaky one to happen in the game, because Dalton Kincaid was actually limited in practice. He did practice, but he has a knee injury, is Dawson Knox. They have not used him all year as anything other than a blocking tight end. From before Kincaid got there, though, big body, good receiver, can catch the ball. He's plus 650 to score a touchdown. I love tight ends anyway. I love watching tight ends play. I think that most of the time they're the best athletes on the field with what they got going on, but I think Dawson Knox could sneak one in. But I really think this game comes to which group of wide receivers help their team more. You have an aging Amari Cooper, a young Keenan Coleman against an aging DeAndre Hopkins and a young Xavier Worthy. What can you get more from either of those wide receiver groups to offset the other team? Because I think that's where the game's going to be won, with both teams focused on shutting down the run.
Yeah, that was my whole thing too. I think the Bills just had the better weapon so far. You look at the playoffs too. I mean, they've really spread the ball around. Josh Allen's 75% completion percentage so far in 2 games this playoffs. That's pretty good. I mean, the Shakir kid, 128 yards out of 13 targets and caught 12 of them. Even they got this other running back too, is Ty Johnson, the backup. He's a receiving back too.
Free agent this year. I like Ty.
Yeah, Curtis Samuel, you can use him in different ways as a Swiss Army knife. But I agree with you, Dan. Yeah, Buckeye. But I agree with you, Dan. And then, Amari Cooper. I forgot Amari. But I agree with you about the tight ends. I think the tight ends are gonna have a big game. So, did Dan cut out?
Did we lose Dan?
We'll be back in a second. But yeah, we did lose Dan. All right, I guess I'll take over until he comes back. But no, I like the tight end matchups for the Bills here, Mike. I don't know what you think of that with Knox and Kincaid.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the tight ends match up well against the Kansas City's linebackers and safeties. I think the Kansas City actually has some good linebackers and some good safeties in that room, but Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox are incredibly talented. Dalton Kincaid was my tight end 1 last year, and he's only improved. The only reason he doesn't get the ball a bunch is just because they have gone to a more run-heavy set, but I expect Dalton Kincaid to have some pretty explosive plays in this game. He's always good for 1. So, yeah, no, I love that matchup. And
Jersey,
I know.
Jersey, what do you think for Josh Allen rushing yards? How many do you think he gets in this game? Does he get over 50 in a touchdown?
Yeah, I think he has to. I think he has to have over 50. Absolutely. So I would take that. I think that's how they win the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something you want to do, but it's something they're going to have to do.
Shout out to Teflon Dynasty. What's up, gentlemen? What's up, Teflon? Good to see you again. Yeah, I agree. I think he has to run the ball, especially in the second half. Like Dan said, if you got snow out there, weather starts getting bad, the ball gets cold. I think that'd be it. I think, too, the Bills' defense doesn't get enough credit for how good they actually are. I mean, that play they made last week, I know everybody's cooking Mark Andrews on the punch-out, but when he fumbled on that one play, but that was just that was a better defensive play. I mean, that punch-out was one of the best punch-outs I've seen from a defensive player in a long time, in a while. It was textbook, the way he did that. I mean, they're very fundamentally sound. We got Dan back in here.
I'm back. Sorry, I had a little Wi-Fi issue.
No, you're good.
What I miss?
No, I asked Mike.
All that house.
Well, now Mike and I were going on the. We both agree with you about the tight ends in this game with the Bills.
Yep.
I totally agree. I take that as a player prop too. And I asked Jersey if he thought Josh Allen would rush over 50 yards and a rushing touchdown in this game. He thinks he will.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
he has to.
Josh Allen's game to win. They're going to put it on his shoulders. And Sean McDermott cannot make a bad decision like he did last year, and not squib. I mean, that 13 seconds, unbelievable. Still one of the worst decisions I've ever seen in a game of you're getting the ball back to Mahomes with any chance for Butker to go down there and kick a field goal to take you to OT. Unbelievable.
Here's a good one for you. Who's on the hotter seat, Nick Sirianni or Sean McDermott?
They hate Sirianni out there.
Well, the Eagles fans are brutal. It's Philadelphia. So you're on a short lease already being in Philadelphia. And if you got, I don't know if you guys watch any of Gruden on Barstool or what he talks about in his pods or anything, but
I've seen clips.
Some of the insights he gives to the different markets he's coached in and how they treat him. and he said one time he was coaching it for the Eagles. He was like an offensive assistant. They just had a game. They lost. He gets in his car. He's all butthurt because they just lost a game. He turns on his radio. And he said he turns on his radio, and the first person on the radio is a caller, and he goes, "Hey, how about that John Gruden? What a jack off!" He goes, I had to turn my radio right off because I was literally the first thing I heard. I'm all depressed. I'm getting on the highway in my car in Philly. We just lost the game. Hey, that John Gruden, what a jack off! I mean, those fans are brutal. And as we get into conversation about coaches and where they land, dude, Ben Johnson going to Chicago. If you listen to him talk or see his mannerisms, I see a lot of Adam Gase in that dude. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
Oh God!
But you gotta
hope not for Chicago fans.
That fucking guy, he's cross-eyed. That fucking Adam Gase.
Did you see the press conference of him going, "Hey, Ben, on your right," and he puts up his fingers like this to determine which way is right to look? Did you see that?
No.
Yes, I did.
He put up left and right. They said, "Hey, Ben, I'm on your right," and he goes, and then he looks. I mean, it was unbelievable. But his mannerisms and stuff, dude. If that doesn't work out in Chicago, they're gonna eat him alive out there, dude. He's getting 13, 14 million a year. He's the reason Liam Cohen just left Tampa because all the money he got, and then Shad Khan matched that to go to Jacksonville, which is a whole other story, and left the Bucs behind. But
that they're paying him that much. No offense, I think Liam Cohen is a pretty good coordinator, but like
he's not ready to be a head coach yet. He wasn't ready to be a head coach. He should have.
I didn't even expect him to be in like conversations. Honestly.
But the NFL's weird that way. You know how they get with coordinators; they get all trendy and stuff on them. But
I mean, I love Liam Cohen's run fits, but goddamn, I don't know. I don't know how that's
Detroit just put their worst game of the season on tape and lost all their coaches.
Yeah,
I mean,
Aaron Glenn's in New York,
which he's doomed. He's doomed in New York.
Oh, Didn't Aaron Glenn play for New York?
Yeah, he played for the Jets. Yeah, he played for the Jets. He was a DB for the Jets back in the day.
Ben Johnson's a really good coordinator, but I don't think I never thought he was as great as people made him out to be. I thought he was part of the reason why they lost the last 2 playoff games against San Fran and the one last weekend, because I think it was just terrible game planning. I mean, the one last year against the Niners, he's got Jared Goff, who's not the most athletic guy at empty, and he rolls him out of the pocket multiple times in that game. The ball's just getting, and the 49ers just fires on him the whole game and just keep sending the pressure on him. And then last weekend, what are you doing? Not running the well, the double reverse.
Yeah, the Jameson Williams.
Did you not look up and did you not look up and see the how many yards you were rushing for? I mean, did you not have the like
they tried to get
the lack of awareness? I think he's too much.
I will say this though.
Go ahead, Mike.
Sorry.
No, I just think he's what's wrong.
I will say this. I do think Chicago is gonna pick Ashton Genty and Ben Johnson with that. I mean, you got all that ammunition on that offense. You got Caleb. You got DJ.
You need a line though.
Caleb, Mike, stop with Caleb Williams.
He had a good season.
No, what?
He had a decent season.
Oh.
Statistically, but he was on his back half the time. Like, you need linemen. they need linemen, dude. They need a line.
They do.
Yeah.
You know, which is surprising because I liked their O-line picks. Their interior is awful. They're gonna get Caleb killed if they don't get a line, dude. And Keenan Allen don't have many seasons left in the tank, and DJ Moore may not have Keenan
many
Allen's
seasons left in the tank. Roman Doomsday is good.
DJ Moore's young. DJ Moore's pretty young. This is only a second contract.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the average length of a wide receiver's career? 7 years.
I mean, they usually finish out their second contract. I mean, DJ Moore's what, 25 maybe? Look up how old he is.
I got it. I'm in it.
I got some. While you do that, I got
27. Okay.
Did you get the Ben Johnson press conference? Did you get the Ben Johnson press conference?
Yeah, here's a clip of it. Just we'll see how he talks.
I think it's funny. I think the dude's funny.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, I am
the
right now.
The bar has been set higher than it's ever been set before. The only way for this team and for you as individual players to reach your potential is to be pushed and to be challenged. And that's exactly what I and my staff plan on doing. We are going to push, we're going to challenge. And along with those high standards, there's also going to be a high level of support as well. Everybody in this building is going to be all about helping you guys out. How do you become the best versions of yourselves? That's what it's going to be about from start to finish. When you walk in, it'll be crystal clear, the communication, the structure, and the consistency, and that will never waver. Our mission starting this spring is to win and to win now. You have a message here.
All right,
that dude couldn't push me to fucking do anything.
I'm switching my bank away from PNC after watching that.
Right.
Yeah.
He couldn't push me to do shit.
Dude, I'm telling you, these coordinators, there's no, I mean, dude, you're coaching against guys like Dan Campbell in that division, dude.
You know, that's going to be his problem is he's going to try to beat Dan Campbell, and it doesn't fit who he is. There's only one Dan Campbell. There's only one Mike Tomlin. There's only one Andy Reid. But that's the problem with the NFL. I think this guy's an example, and he may work out, but it's like if you're in the same room as Andy Reid, oh, my gosh, we got to hire you. If you got Sean McVay as coffee every morning, we got to hire you. I mean, this is the same thing with this guy. Oh, you were with Dan Campbell in Detroit? We got to hire you. But can this guy manage a locker room? Can he manage personalities? Can he manage a team? Does he know how to communicate? Does he know how to be a CEO when he needs to be? I don't see it. Not by that.
I mean, and dude, their schedule next year is kind of brutal. So if they come out and go 0-4, Chicago is going to be eating his lunch, dude. I mean, that nerd is going to get pounded by the local
Chicago. They don't play.
That nerd.
Yeah. I mean,
he's coming in a little hot though. He's coming in a little hot though. Like you will be doing this and you will be doing that.
Well,
shut the fuck up.
There's probably something about someone handing you a sheet of paper saying they're going to pay you $14 million a year to do anything that makes you feel a little confident. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. I wonder how him and Caleb will work together if he acts like that. I don't know if that works. And I think too, like you said, why you come in acting like that from day one? I think he's always going to
masculine Caleb for sure. I mean,
right. But
right.
He's gonna try to be. He's always going to try to be dang. It's like Josh McDaniels, where every time he's been a head coach, he's trying to be Bill Belichick everywhere he goes, but he's not Bill Belichick.
We got fucking Gilbert and Lamar from Revenge of the Nerds.
All right, let's get through the. We have the Super Bowl matchups now. Let's get through the Super Bowl, Mike.
I got this for you real quick too.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Here we go. Yes.
Big first half for Kelsey. Too big. Too big.
Oh, you missed it. He did it right at the beginning, Joseph.
Right here.
Big first half for Kelsey. Too big. Too big.
Yeah. Couldn't even hold it in. Couldn't even hold it in.
Penguin starts cracking up.
Well,
Is like,
Well, you know he may have said that because she's way too old for him. I mean, I
thought that was his daughter.
That's an aged out. That's an
granddaughter. That's daughter. It's his granddaughter.
Dude, it's crazy. All right, so we got our Super Bowl matchup set. Mike, you got the Commanders and Bills in the Super Bowl. Who is this year's Super Bowl champion?
Oh, it's got to be Buffalo. I mean, if that's the situation that happens, Jaden Daniels can just hang on his laurels as a rookie for a team that won 3 games last year, made it all the way to the Super Bowl. Congratulations. If that is in fact what happens, like that is in and of itself achievement. But this is Buffalo's year, in my opinion.
Jersey, who you got? You got Washington and Buffalo in the Super Bowl. Who's taking down the crown?
Buffalo. I think the winner of that game is Super Bowl champ. Whoever wins that Buffalo, Kansas City. So if they can go into Kansas City, beat Kansas City AFC Championship, you're not stopping them dudes. You know what I mean? It's just even more momentum. So I would almost think they'd probably go in and win pretty convincingly.
Yeah, I thought the winner of last week's game between the Ravens and the Bills, I thought the winner of that's going to win the Super Bowl. So I'm going to go with the Bills. I think the Bills, as long as they don't turn the ball over, they're the most balanced team right now. I think defensively they're really good. Like I said, when you went out, Dan, that was the play they made where they punched the ball out for Mark Andrews. I mean, that's a great, well-coached, that's a fundamentally coached play in practice every day, a team that makes plays like that. And then I just think they can run the ball, they can throw the ball. You got Josh Allen having a great year. I think they're the most balanced team. So as long as they don't turn the ball over, I like the Bills.
And Buffalo is currently plus 255 to win the Super Bowl. They're actually the 3rd ranked team. So every 100 you bet would pay you $355 if you bet the Bills to win the Super Bowl right now. Philadelphia, Buffalo. I also like Buffalo. If Buffalo gets there, they got to win. It's just it's too good of a story. It's been 30 years since their last Super Bowl. They lost 4 years in a row. It's time for Mahomes to start passing the torch to somebody. Josh Allen's a great future face of the NFL. You find it hard not to like Josh Allen, regardless of who you cheer for. He's a football player first. I like Buffalo to win too. Let's just say this. Your matchups. Both quarterbacks get hurt this week's game. You got backup quarterbacks going in the next game. Mike, you'd have the showdown of Mitch Trubisky against Jeff Driscoll. Who you got?
Mitch. Has Jeff Driscoll ever won a game?
Yes.
He has.
I think Jeff Driscoll
Who
has
you
won a game.
got?
He beat the Browns.
Jeff Driscoll is also was also on the Browns jersey for our list of quarterbacks. He has a start for us.
Driscoll beat the Browns, I think, for the Bengals, didn't he?
Possibly.
Probably. I mean, we
Most
lost
likely.
everybody, but yeah.
Jeff, you got the Jeff Driscoll versus Mitch Trubisky showdown.
Oh my God.
Jersey, who you got? Who you got in that game?
Who you got?
Can you imagine if we went to a Super Bowl and we watched the media hype up Mitch Trubisky and Jeff Driscoll?
I'm going Trubisky. He's a hometown kid. I gotta ride. I gotta ride with Trubisky.
I can almost hear the sponsors just pulling out.
I mean, at that now, if this happens, this is going to be some crazy stuff that we've already talked
I
about.
actually think people would be intrigued and they'd be like, "We got to watch this shit."
But if you're either team, aren't you like immediately on the phone with like Phillip Rivers and asking what kind of shape he's in? Just get here and win a game.
Andrew, how are you looking?
Like you just want him to win one game. You just got a chance to play in the Super Bowl. Just get on the horn and bring him in. I mean, I couldn't go into Super Sunday with Jeff Driscoll. I just could not do it. I couldn't do it to the fans. I couldn't do it to the team. It just could not happen.
I would be so intrigued by that. Like, I'd like that's must see. Which one of the towel wavers is going to win?
Fitzpatrick, he would be there in a heartbeat.
Now, on the other hand, if the Chiefs got there, and you had Carson Wentz revenge game against the Eagles in the bowl. Can you imagine this storyline?
I can imagine my ass falling asleep.
Yeah. Shit.
I'm currently trying to look up the win-loss record of Jeff Driscoll, and
I will go with Trubisky.
It's not available. It's not common.
It's just evading me. It's just evading me. I don't know that anyone's ever wrote about this or cared.
I will go with Trubisky because he played bigger games, probably Jeff Driscoll. The playoff game. Then, I mean, hell, I watched Trubisky play against St. Ed's in high school. That's probably a bigger game than Jeff Driscoll's ever played in his life. So, I'll go with Trubisky.
Right.
I mean,
his St. Ed's game was bigger.
The St. Ed's game at Imposition I saw him play at, which he won. I would go with that as a bigger game than any game Jeff Driscoll's played in.
Dude, I cannot find his win-loss record. I mean, I can't find it anywhere.
I'll find it. Hold on. I'm going to Stat Muse.
I mean, unbelievable. What is
Jeff
it? Stat Muse?
Driscoll.
What college, by the way? Jersey, you know? You remember?
Driscoll?
Yep.
That I don't know.
11-2 in college, by the way. A Florida Gator.
I don't even remember that dude playing
a Florida Gator.
I got it right here. Jeff Driscoll has never won an NFL game.
No, he's 1-0. He's 1-0, Mike. I got a win. I got one win.
He started. You have a win? I'm not seeing one. Maybe I haven't scrolled down far enough.
Saturday, September 15th of 2004, he won 21-18 against the Giants.
What?
Of 2004?
I don't know what year it was.
You're looking at the wrong player, dog. Jeff Driscoll was picked 6th round in the 2016 draft.
Yeah, he played for the Bengals, Lions, Broncos, Texans, Browns, Commanders.
He has never. I'm looking at all of his starts. He's never won an NFL game.
I got one win on StatMuse, 1-0.
Preseason?
But we won't spend any time on Jeff Driscoll.
I'm on the.
Maybe he was just on the roster and the team won.
Oh my God!
That's probably it.
He won one game.
Yep.
And it was the game. He was the Houston Texans quarterback.
Yep.
And he won the one game that gave the Bears pick that year. That ended up becoming Bryce Young, and that's how they fell to 2 and got C.J. Stroud because Jeff Driscoll won that game.
So you're telling me you're going to bet against the undefeated Jeff Driscoll?
He's won like 10.
Nice.
Guys never lost a game. That'll be the narrative on TV. Jeff Driscoll, who's never lost a game.
All right, so we're all riding for Bills Mafia. I think it'll be a great sight to see. If it is Bills Eagles, that parking lot, that Super Bowl pregame, that 2 weeks, that'll be the most beer and partying consumed maybe in Super Bowl history. The Eagles and Bills fans are crazy.
Whose fans win in a fight? If a fight breaks out.
Well, the Bills fans will be too drunk and just want to jump through tables. The Eagles fans actually fight. They throw battery bombs.
They all got felonies. You have to have a felony to be an Eagles fan.
Dude, they throw battery bombs. They fill up those Ziploc bags with blood and put batteries in them and throw them at people to get their jerseys all bloody.
Oh, God.
I heard a story.
You remember when Timmy got that Timmy wore that Dolphins jersey and took my tickets to that game, Joseph? Hey, Anthony, you ever hear that story about Bolgren?
Yes, I did.
Yep.
I
said, Timmy, how was the tailgate? He goes, they threw a condom with piss in it at me.
Such a good Bolgren.
I said, I told you don't be wearing that jersey in the Muni, Timmy.
Or who was it that what happened to the Bills fan was rolling his way
yeah.
downtown Cleveland?
Yeah, I'm sitting there drinking with a bunch of Browns fans, and I hear the asshole chant start. So usually we all turn around and start chanting asshole. We turn around and I look and see who they're chanting at. It's some guy in a wheelchair with a Fred Jackson jersey on, just pedaling through. He's all by himself in a wheelchair. They're chanting asshole at him. I got guys sitting there drinking with me yelling, "Yeah, you got Fred Jackson's legs too, dude."
Oh, God damn.
I mean, the guy's in a wheelchair trying to make his way a mile to the stadium. Unbelievable. All right.
Yeah, I
so
think the Bills
What an
fans just want to have
asshole.
fun. Yeah, the Bills fans just want to have fun. Eagles fans, they're for the East Coast. They'll fight you for real. They don't mess. I heard a story. Somebody was walking into a Phillies game, and the mom had all her kids, and she was yelling at him real loud, like, "Come on, you mother effers! We got a kid in the game!" Like, they are for real.
Oh, dude, they booed Santa Claus, dude. They booed Santa
Yeah,
Claus
they-
on Christmas.
Yeah, they will fight. It's Philly. They don't care.
I mean, unbelievable. All right, so moving on, talking about odds and stuff. We covered this year's Super Bowl. Obviously, we'll do a big episode before the Super Bowl because Super Bowl is like the king of all the prop bets and everything else that you can bet on and all the game stuff. And most of the population gets into that stuff. So we'll have a big episode on that. But the 2026 Super Bowl winning odds have been released. The Chiefs and the Bills are both favored at plus 600 and plus 650. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus 3,000.
What are the Browns?
The Browns probably plus 60,000. Whatever.
Mike, you still taking the Browns?
The line
Plus
the lines
60,000?
actually no, not plus 60. The Steelers are plus 10, so they can't be much beyond that. Here, let me find the Browns. Browns are only plus 5,000, so they got high hopes. But that would mean if you bet $100, Mike, you'd win 5,100 if they won the Super Bowl next year.
That's kind of high, though. That's higher than I thought.
That it should be higher than that. I mean, we haven't even won the division, Mike. We never even. You should be looking at odds to win the division. I mean, in 35 years,
No,
got
I'm just
those
saying,
Kind of high.
it should be way higher than that, dude.
it would be way higher.
We
It
don't
should
have
be
a
way higher
starting
than that.
quarterback yet. He said it's too high.
It should be way higher than that, actually. But here's one not talking about football. Moving over to basketball for a little bit. The utter disrespect that is on the Cavs' name right now in the NBA, despite the fact they have the best record in the NBA, or I think after today's loss, close to it. The Celtics and Thunder are the favorites to win the championship at plus 250. The Cavs are currently plus 900 to win the championship, meaning if you bet 100, you win 1,000. We are third, despite having the best record. If you bet the Cavs to beat the Thunder in the finals, so if you think the Thunder are going against the Cavs and Cavs beat them in the finals, it's plus 3,000. You bet $100, it pays 3,100. Now, and if you think the other team getting there is the Nuggets, which I think the Nuggets could beat the Thunder in a series if Jokic is playing well and they're super deep, it's plus 6,500. So if you beat the Cavs to beat the Nuggets in the finals, it pays 6,600 right now. There's disrespect on the Cavs name. We need to make a trade because they already think we're not going to be able to close and get past that Eastern Conference championship. There's some money to be made for being a Cavs fan if you really want to put your money down on the Cavs right now.
I'd put the money on them right now because they are going to make a trade. They have to make a trade, and I think it's going to be either Cam Johnson or maybe Brandon Ingram. I had the report today he's going for a bag of chips right now, so they can probably snag him. I mean, they're going to have to give up LeVert, but I don't think I'd rather have the top tier talent. I mean, when you get in the playoffs, you're only going to be rolling 7-man rotation or a 7-man rotation anyway. So,
yeah.
I mean, Niang, I know a lot of people are like, we don't want to break up the chemistry. I like Niang and I like Okoro and I like our team, but it doesn't.
Minivan Yang, the old
Minivan, you know, he's a good guy, but he can play and he has some good nights, but
when he's off though.
He's off, and defensively, he's still a liability. I mean, he's better this year, but he's still in the playoffs. He's a big liability. They got to go make a trade now. I think they will. I think they're actually the favorites to get Cam Johnson right now. I don't know who the favorites are to get Brandon Ingram after today, but I know they're the favorites to get Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson be an absolute seamless fit. Can play off the ball, two-way wing, 28 years old, can shoot the ball, doesn't need the ball in his hands to be great, can play in that system. I would put the Cavs that we said $100, you get $1,000. I'd do that right now.
Yeah.
Because I mean they're still going to have home court advantage because the Celtics lost to the Lakers last night, got blown out by the Lakers.
Yep, I know. I watched that game. That was crazy. Celtics were way off last night.
Yeah, that's pretty bad if you're getting blown out by that team. So yeah, I would go with the Cavs. And who knows? They may have another surprise move that nobody's even thinking of. That could really propel them too. So you never know where things are going to be going. And
Kenny's the All-Star coach, right? All-Star head coach.
Yeah, he's the All-Star head coach. Well deserved. And I think Mitchell got the starting gig. So I'm curious to see who else is going to get in. Garland should get in, shooting 50, 40, 90. He better get in. And then I would probably go Mobley. I think you're seeing the absence of Mobley right now, how valuable
Yeah.
he is.
Well, he's
the
runner up for Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, if you're limited on
Yeah, I
defense,
mean
you don't have to-
he's the engine of the team. He's the guy. He's a Swiss Army knife. He's what makes it go on both
Yep.
ends.
Yep.
And then Jared Allen. I mean, he's just a walking 20 and 10. But I like that though, the plus 900 because the Celtics. If the Cavs make the trade, they can compete with the Celtics. But I think where the Cavs lack the most, where teams are going to go after them, is physicality. I think the Cavs need a couple
Yeah.
more dogs. I'll go after maybe a Bruce Brown. They need some little more edge on that team. That's what I think that's their biggest weakness right now.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we got any chatters in the chat, Joseph? What we got going on there?
Just Teflon popped in nice. Said, "What's up, Dan, Joe, and Jersey?"
Nice.
So shout out to you, Teflon.
They all came to see Chris. They're all holding off for Chris.
Yeah, yeah. The Chris fan club. They all saw he wasn't here and left. So
yeah, if the Chiefs don't win on Sunday, believe me, just Chris has the Chiefs in the playoff poll. I'm just saying, he was very happy to have that draw. If they get blown out or something, I had the Ravens, so I was already cursing Mark Andrews' name when he got stripped in open field and he took one off the stomach because I had hopes that they could get past the Chiefs this year and at least put it in position. But I would rather as a fan see the Buffalo Bills win. I'm ready to see Buffalo on the stage. I'm ready to see Allen hoist the trophy. I do like Saquon, but I can't get behind the Jalen Hurts led offense of the Eagles. I see it sometimes. It goes stagnant, and Philly's okay, but I want Buffalo to win, so I'm all on Buffalo. That's what I would like to see happening for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I'd ask you, if you don't mind, I could ask you guys something real quick related to the Browns. Where we can hit on it next time. We could preview it real quick. Obviously, we got the number 2 overall pick. I don't know if you guys saw with the Titans GM, the Titans have the number 1 pick. He said, I quote, Mike, you saw this the other day, that he said, we're not going to pass on a generational talent at 1.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all he said. And then Travis Hunter's odds to be the number 1 pick skyrocketed. Now it's still Cam and Shador, but obviously there's been the reports about the Browns are really keyed in on Travis, which that seems to be what they would like, and I like that too. But I'm curious what you guys think.
I think the Titans. I mean, when you say generational talent, the person you're clearly referring to is Travis Hunter in this draft. So why would you say that as any type of strategy when in turn that's just bad strategy? Why would you let the 2 and 3 teams know that they're going to have their choice of quarterbacks and not have to trade up? Why wouldn't you put it all into that pick, making them think if they really wanted somebody, they had to come up? I mean, they have a mayonnaise spokesman, Will Levis, as their quarterback right now. The team is absolutely terrible because they don't have a quarterback. They have pieces on that team that actually should be good. They have talent there where I don't think they're too far away, and I think they're in the right division where they could come up and run with it and win with it a little bit if they wanted to. But why would you say that and reveal that and let everybody know that you are going to go take Travis Hunter unless they think the market's going to be so strong for Travis Hunter that someone's going to come get him at 1 and want him so bad they're going to trade up to get him, I guess? But are you really trading up to get a corner and a wide receiver combo that is going to split time and it's going to be a unique coaching approach that you've never had before with any player?
I think the Sanders are doing their little game, and I think the Titans know it. I think the Titans, Mike, you've noticed because you've been keeping track with the draft more than anybody. The reports have been they're keyed in on Cam Ward, but the Giants and I think Dion and Shador all have a thing together. I think they like the Giants. I think that's where Shador wants to go. You saw him at the Heisman weekend. They were in New York. He was hanging out with Malik Neighbors, and they asked Malik Neighbors, what did he say, Mike, with Shador Sanders? What was that quote he said at the press conference?
He looked upset at the question, and he just said no comment.
Yeah. And so I think that's where Shador wants to go. I think they want, and people in Colorado that are close to the Sanders have said the goal is always Shador to go 1 and Travis to go 2. And so I think the Titans know they can get Cam Ward at 3. If they know the Browns are going to take Travis, and they know that the the Giants want Shador. I think they're going to try to play it like maybe we'll take Shador. If you want, you better trade it for to get him.
Everything
I could see the Titans and Giants doing a trade and swapping 1 and 3, and the Browns still stay at 2.
I've been reading or hearing the Browns like Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter at 2. That's what they're leaning.
Yeah. Well,
I think there's a game being played there.
I'd be okay with that. I mean, I'm not impressed by the two quarterbacks that are kind of being pivoted around as like the top choices this year. I mean, I it might sound like kind of a homer thing, and I've watched more Ohio State football this year than ever before because of the college playoff and the format and getting to see them play. And it may sound like a homer pick, but dude, if you got no quarterback plan and you've built your team around it, much the way the Commanders did of putting a team together before installing a quarterback, and you got a gritty, big body guy like Will Howard that'll stick his foot in the ground and get upfield, I would not mind a choice like that could run in a Stefanski-led offense that may not be a superstar, but sufficient, good. You know, I think with a quarterback like Will Howard, he probably has like an Alex Smith style ceiling to NFL football, but Alex Smith won games, and Alex Smith, you know, made deep playoff runs, and he was a successful winning quarterback because he was an athlete, he was a good game manager, he made smart decisions, and he had a good arm. So I don't mind a pick like that. I see a little mini like Timu, Josh Allen, and Will Howard that makes me want to steer that direction.
Tommy Reese said in his press conference the other day, "What's the biggest thing you're looking for? A good decision maker."
Yeah,
he wants a good decision maker. And I think too, even if he doesn't pan out like Mike,
he's going to love Pete Podesta then.
Yeah, but I hope not. But I think the quarterback class next year is the one and the year after that. But next year's class, obviously, you got Arch, you got the Nico kid, you got Garrett Nussman, Drew Aller. You're gonna have a plethora of quarterbacks next year.
My guy.
I think if you take Travis, a lot of people think the Browns will use him more on the offensive side of the ball, maybe, and that's one thing the Browns have never given their quarterback as an elite receiver. So if you get Travis in for a year, get the quarterback that year, now your rookie quarterback you spent a first round pick on, he's gonna have a nice weapon to come into. And maybe Jerry Jeudy keeps it up too, but I think Travis Hunter with a rookie next year, I think that would be better for the future.
Yeah, give me Travis Hunter at 2, and then give me Caleb Johnson at 33, and then whatever you do from there, I don't care.
Did you see Russell Wilson's nearing an extension with the Steelers?
That makes me so happy.
Jersey, I know you're all in on Travis, right? At 2, because he didn't watch any of the no, you didn't watch Cam Ward at all this year, and then you watched Shore a little bit. But I turned on the highlights the other night.
We watched the tape on those guys. I wasn't thrilled with either one of those guys. I actually thought Jackson. We watched Jackson Dart. I thought Jackson Dart threw the ball better than both of them. But you know, we were talking about it the other night on the show, and just like Dan was touching on, Will Howard's a nice little piece that you get him later on in the draft after you take Travis Hunter. I mean, Travis Hunter's. I can't see somebody taking a receiver. Even somebody like Travis Hunter, can't see a player like that being drafted 1. I mean, but I guess there's always a first. But if he's sitting there too, the Browns have got to take Travis Hunter. My gosh, you got to take this guy. If they didn't take Travis Hunter, I'm going up to that damn stadium, and I'm getting that. And you're going to see the worst come out of me. You know what I mean? I mean, if they don't, I mean,
you said the other night, if they
Mike, and you're going with me too. You're gonna admit that these guys are absolute dipshits.
I mean,
so you're ready to be on the clock and watch the crowd go silent as we take Jalen Milroe.
Mike's
I would be livid at 2.
Mike, now Dan, Dan. Since you weren't on the other night, we're gonna ask Dan his opinion.
Yep.
Jalen Milroe is worthy of a top of the second round. 33rd, 34th pick. Quinn Ewers is a 6th rounder at best. Maybe doesn't even get drafted.
I don't like Quinn Ewers at all.
You don't, but you see that kind of disparity in those two quarterbacks.
I mean, didn't Milroe have something go on with him in the bowl game, like late in the season that I heard about? I didn't watch much of him play just based on the team he was on, but I've watched him before, and it just seemed like a lot of talent was there, but it was super inconsistent, and I don't.
That's exactly what Milroe.
What
Jalen Milroe.
I don't
at least right now.
I don't like that at all. I don't like Jalen Milroe to be a franchise leading NFL quarterback.
His floor is like Troy Smith, but his ceiling could be Jalen Hurts is where I got him at, or a ceiling like he might have a higher floor than I'm giving him, but I'm just, if he doesn't develop, he's Troy Smith, but if he does, he's Jalen Hurts. I love his athleticism. I don't love him in the first round. Jersey thinks I do. I don't. Like
Yeah.
at
I don't even like
33,
him in the second round, Mike.
at-
That's what I'm
if we
getting at with all
No,
this.
If
I
we
don't.
had a mid-round second pick, I wouldn't be mad. If we somehow get a second,
He's 70 on the big board according to ranks. PFF
I,
ranks
I,
he's 70.
I'm taking Quinn Ewers before I take Jalen Milroe. The
When
whole
I
point of
turn it-
this is Jalen Milroe. I don't even know why they were talking about Jalen Milroe.
because at least Jalen Milroe can have a role on the team, even if he isn't your quarterback. Hell, he can switch positions. Quinn Ewers can't do shit.
Weaknesses for Milroe on the big board: accuracy, decision-making variance is large right now. Plenty of highlight plays, but also plenty of regrettable ones. Holds the ball low and loose in his stance. Accuracy can dip when he takes speed off his throw for shorter distances. Can struggle seeing non-primary defenders. Time to throw versus sacks is taken far too high, even for you take the bad with the good. So those are all recipes for a bad NFL quarterback. You got to get that ball out of the hand.
Yeah,
Give him that
and
CJ
not only
Stroud
that-
I've
test.
said this, and I will continue to say this because when people hear I like Jalen Milroe, people think that I think he should be like day one starter. Jalen Milroe isn't someone you pick and start immediately. He needs coaching, he needs development, but he has made leaps and bounds from year one to year two as a starter. And as an athlete, he's one of my favorite athletes in the entire. As a
You know the
quarterback,
problem with that, Mike,
he's
is
maybe my fourth favorite quarterback. Maybe
you know the problem with a quarterback that needs a lot of
Probably
development,
go-
Mike.
I'd probably go Shador Jackson, Cam Ward, him, and then Will Howard, and then
Oh, I'd take Will Howard over
Riley
Jalen Milroe any day of the week in this. Jalen Milroe, I don't see him playing under center running this offense. The scheme
No, he's
fit
going to
number
run
one.
RPO.
Yeah, but they're not going to be. If you're going back to that 12 personnel, you're going to have to play. You got to be able to play under, take a snap under center, turn back, and look forward and locate coverage. He ain't going to do that.
You know,
When I-
if we're looking
and I
for
don't.
someone-
And when I watch his college highlights, he's a hell of an athlete, and I heard he's a really good kid too. But I see more running than I see throwing. I don't want an athlete that plays quarterback. I want a quarterback that plays that's an athlete.
When I first watched him play, I didn't feel like I was watching a quarterback. I was kind of like, what the hell is Saban doing? Like, I didn't feel like I'm watching a quarterback. I know I'm watching a good football player, but I just didn't feel like I'm watching a quarterback. And that's
Saban
he's
left.
never. What's that?
Saban left. The guy had another year left. He said, "I'm getting the hell out of here."
Yeah,
Nick Saban. I mean, he left. I mean,
They're going to give that kid that test they gave CJ Stroud that he bombed before the draft. If you remember all that stuff that came about that test about reading receivers and coverage and stuff, and he's going to fail that thing miserably, and they're going to be all over him for it. It's one thing to be an athlete. To be an NFL quarterback, you got to be smart. I mean, your athleticism can't make up for all the different shit that all these defensive coordinators are going to scheme on, watch tape on, and throw at you that you're not going to be able to. You can't out athlete so many other athletes that are outthinking you. I mean, it's hard to do. So Vince Young is a case in point. I mean, no one coming out of college thought Vince Young was going to be a complete turd in the NFL just because he was such a dominant player. But he got to the NFL and realized that everybody's running that speed and everybody's doing that. And he just fell on his face. I mean, he's one of the greatest college quarterbacks of all time. But you can't do that. I will tell you.
Oh, go ahead.
A team that struck gold with a quarterback they picked when technically they don't need one now because they're in love with Drake May is Joe Milton in New England. He's a piece for them to trade. Did you see him play?
Yeah, he looked decent. Pretty good.
He burst out on film, dude. He's going to be on people's radar to go get him in New England because they like Drake May. They're locked in. They think Drake May's a future piece. They got Joe Milton playing backup quarterback there. He looked phenomenal on tape.
I like Will Howard for this offense. I just think the fit to me is going to be most important. I think the size, 6'4", 6'5", 235, big kid. His arms actually, I think, been underrated. You saw more of it in the playoffs. But I just think the concepts he ran, the coaching he got at Ohio State, they run more NFL concept. Chip Kelly likes to run the ball, go under center more. I saw him do a lot of play action this year. Even in the pistol, he run play action. So I think it'll be easier to transition for him. And he's a high IQ kid.
Yeah.
And I think, too, he's the most like Bo Nix, where he's played a shitload of games in college.
Yep. He's a winner. Winner.
Yeah, you can bring him right in. I think he's the most like Bo Nix.
Ohio guy. It would do just the part to rally all the Browns fans up for the season. You already know what it would be. Be all optimistic. Here we go. And if he's there in the third round, I mean, if you got to move on from him after a year, and he's there in the top of the third round, it's not as devastating as taking one of these guys 1 or 2 and then realizing they can't read defense.
102. I wouldn't be mad there.
Or he
What's
may
that?
end up being your backup,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
wouldn't be
he
mad
may
at
end up,
102.
which is fine. You may have a
As
decent,
long as
solid
it's not the
backup.
backup to Kirk Cousins. I mean, my
Yeah.
gosh,
Geno
please
Smith.
don't
It's
do
gonna be
that.
Geno Smith.
I like the
Don't-
Geno Smith. Him and Geno
don't-
took a picture after the game together too. I like that, bro.
Him and
Don't-
Geno, baby.
Don't do Kirk Cousins. Do not go pay Sam Darnold. Please, whatever we do.
We're not paying Sam Darnold. I
Do
can
not
promise you that.
pay
I have
Sam
people close
Darnold.
to that situation. That's it. Sam Darnold isn't happening. Kirk Cousins is a possibility, but it would be on a 1-year deal. So it is what it is with that. But the Browns really, really like Geno Smith, like a lot. So
I
mean,
don't mind Geno
I don't
Smith,
mind
but
that.
I mean, here you
for a 6th and a 7th, I'm not going to be upset at that. He's got 2 years left on his deal.
He's going to play some good games. He's going to play some bad games. You're not. He's okay. I mean, he's turned his career around a little bit, but I'm not. He's not the future. I mean,
No, he's on a
he's a
2-year
top-
deal.
yeah.
You would be going into that knowing that's not the future.
You might as well go get Teddy Two Gloves from the Detroit Lions for a 6th round.
Give
pick
me.
Oh,
give
I
me,
feel so bad for Teddy Bridgewater. A quick side note: I feel so bad for him. Bro stopped what he was doing, and signed with the. Because he's like, I'm gonna go get a ring. I'm just gonna go get this, and then that happens to him. I feel so bad for Teddy Bridgewater, dude. Worst things happen to the best people.
Give me
Yeah,
Geno
he's getting
Smith.
paid. I don't feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Give me Geno Smith and get as many 2027 first round picks. So then if he likes Will, then you see this is them the other night after the game.
Yeah.
Why is Geno there? Geno's related to Jeremiah Smith.
Oh, nice.
Maybe they'll pull a Deion Sanders. You got as many first round picks you can get him here in 27.
Did Jeremiah Smith commit to not leaving?
Yeah.
No, he's
pretty
not going
much.
anywhere.
He said on Twitter that he ain't even.
Did you see what Shane Gillis did after the game, Mike? I know you know who Shane Gillis is, the comedian.
I do know who Shane Gillis is.
So
no, but did he cry? Was he crying?
No, he's a huge Notre Dame fan.
I know.
So obviously, F4-letter word immediately after the game on his Twitter, but also he has announced that he is doing a tour that all the proceeds go to Notre Dame football NIL.
That's hilarious.
And he is going to do like 3 dates around Notre Dame's campus where he's putting all the money into Notre Dame for NIL.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't think Jeremiah's ever going to leave.
He got offered $4.5 million to leave. I heard today. I heard he got offered $4.5 million, which is like $0.7 million above what the Buckeyes paid him. But he committed to staying already or something. But believe me, he knew every team was coming. You knew all the time.
Ohio State's going to pay him. He'll get paid. And I think LeBron will be scouting him too from Clutch Agency, and they'll make sure he stays at Ohio State so they get tabs on him. But I just think there's a lot of connections there, and I mean Ohio State showed this year they're not afraid to spend the cash. Plus, I mean he took reps all year with this quarterback next year, Sane, who's a 5-star, who Saban recruited, and then when Saban left, he came here. So Sane will take over next year. Then you got St. Clair after that, who's a freak too. So, but he'll have Sane, and then they got Igbinosun came back, Sonny Styles came back, Caleb Downs is still here. A bunch of guys came back too. So
I saw Judkins.
Caleb Downs
draft today.
Very high pick next
year. I mean, but they'll have James Peoples. I mean, the O line's gonna be really good next year. The interior is really good. So yeah,
Donovan Jackson getting tackle looks.
Oh, Ohio State, by the way, favorites to win next year's national championship as well at plus 450.
I mean, they're going to have the best players on the country on offense and defense. Caleb Downs will be the best defensive player in the nation next year, and Jeremiah's he's probably the best player in the country, period. But
Yep, it goes Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, Penn State, Oregon, Notre Dame, Alabama, Tennessee, LSU, Clemson.
Yeah, I'm not buying the Jim Knowles. Penn State thinks they're going to take our DC from us, but I'm not buying that. I think Jim Knowles is trying to get a raise.
They will never win anything as long as James Franklin is employed.
Their offense.
Jim Knowles is not. Penn State thinks they're going to convince Jim Knowles to come there and be their DC.
Yeah, they offered him a big.
Why would he leave Ohio State to go there so he can lose to Ohio State?
Because he's from I don't know. He's some Philadelphia connection, but it's like Zach Smith said. It's so stupid. It just happens every year. Some guy who is the hot name, like they're going to prime away. Like Notre Dame thinks they're going to prime away. He just beat you. Why would he come join you? Like,
Notre Dame will never have the talent these other teams have because they don't.
No.
Notre Dame only recruits from schools like Eds and Hoban, and they don't recruit the same way as others. They want a specific. They want more like the academic All-Americans and shit like that, which is great. I mean, they're never going to be as talented as
And they're
Ohio
not getting
State,
transferred
Georgia.
like that.
Yeah,
is
that's
my
just not who they are.
No.
And it's not
They're
about NIL money. They got diocese money. I mean, they got the freaking I mean, you know what I mean? They got all the
Yeah.
money that there is. I mean, here when they won their bowl game, when they won that bowl game, that's $20 million. They got to keep all of it because they're not in the conference. I mean, they're not hurting. They don't need the money. It's just they're never going to go to that extent. I just don't think they'll ever go to that extent that Ohio State or Georgia or Texas will to win college football games.
Nah. They're too traditional, like too traditional.
Right. They're never going to be, and eventually they're going to have to join a conference because they'll start to be isolated out because they won't join a conference.
Yeah.
And then when it goes to 2 super conferences, which is what's going to happen, they definitely have no choice but to join one. So, but they'll never have that talent. I mean, Ohio State could have once put 60, 70 points on them. They're never going to have that talent level.
Yeah.
All right, boys. It's been a fun episode. I appreciate you guys joining me so we could go on with this. I will see you guys on the reel very soon. It should be a great weekend of football. You guys enjoy the games wherever you're at. You guys have a good weekend. We're all riding for Bills Mafia. We're all getting ready to jump through tables.
Bros.
All getting ready to jump through tables. My words of wisdom, signing off. Life is a game, play to win. Let's go. The Fix. See you next time.